Alright, so this is Jund Kroxa. For those newer to Magic, Jund refers to the color combination of green, red, and black. Kroxa here being the Titan of Death's Hunger out of Theros. I think both the Titans are very, very good. The thing that this deck is kind of trying to do is if you play Pelt Collector on 1, and then you curve into Kroxa on 2. It's kind of a build your own mild Nakatl. We get to attack with a 3/3 Pelt Collector because this gets a counter when this comes into play and when it sacrifices itself. Outside of that, the rest of the deck is just like pretty good aggressive threats. We've got Stormfist Crusader, Rotting Regisaur, Lovestruck Beast, Bonecrusher, Polukranos, Questing Beast, tie in the room together with a few copies of Embercleave up here at the top end. So let's go ahead and dive on into a few matches with this and see how it goes. They are funny, Branch. I agree. Ooh. Guy was DQ'd after he was asked to re-roll for not enough randomization, appeal to head judge, and DQ. I don't understand what that means. Not enough randomization? Like, didn't shake the dice enough before they dropped them on the table? Is that what that means? God, the nonsense about like things like that in paper Magic makes me enjoy playing all digital more. So there's so many little nonsense details like that. We're just like, I don't want to worry about that. Let's not. $77 timeouts, Chuki. Getting close. Why doesn't the pairing software just assign who plays draws? Because Wizards of the Coast is not a software company, and doing that, I assume, is incredibly difficult for them. Dear opponent, please don't sweep me. Blue-red lands to start, eh? Maybe a flash deck? These are my 2/1s. There are many like them, but these ones are mine. Interesting. So they must have a counterspell here, right? I think I just passed myself. So I didn't try and double stomp this at end of turn because I think they likely have a counterspell here. Probably a Quench. Negate. Rough. What you got, opponent? What you got? What you got? What you got? Chadwick resolves. Do you like the full art cards as opposed to storybook? I do, because storybook cards you could get from playing in events, like some kind of free-to-play pleb, and the borderless cards you have to pay dollars for, so they're a bigger wallet flex. All about the wallet flex, Mikey. It's about sending that message. Via what's it called? I also like the uniformity too, like not from a pure dollar perspective, but like while the storybook cards look good, they also look out of place, I think. So from a purely visual perspective, I like having everything borderless. Mono Gadwicks, eh? Third Gadwick's the charm, chat. Assume we're gonna see an opt or something here to diddle one of my creatures. There are 2 Hoaglandia raid clans, from my understanding. The names of them to search for are in the Google Doc here. If you'd like to join one of them. I think Hoaglandia, the first one, is full. Shillsville still has space, I believe, though. That's unfortunate. We could very well just get tempoed out of this game from here. Maybe off the boost from the Stormfist Crusader, we could be okay here. They also haven't played any Bonecrusher Giants yet, though, either, so I wouldn't be too surprised if this just eats it before it draws any cards. Yeah, I was actually a little sad when I found out the raid clans only support 30 people. I guess having them bigger would make things like doing the clan chest and the bosses a little bit easier with larger groups, but it would probably be nice if they could just, like, scale those things up as you had more people in your group. He's dead, Jim. You've killed him. So they guaranteed have Brazen Bar were to tap one of my things next turn, but I guess I also only have 2 good attackers through this Gadwick. I'm going to play this out because if I get to attack with these, I would like to have this in play if they trade, so that way it gets bigger. I don't know, Currency, you already kind of have that with the current setup, though. It's not too big of a deal. Like, the only thing you really do as a group with the clans is, like, fight the boss thing. We had a really good start this game, and then just, like, the third Gadwick, chat. This card just generates so much tempo. We played the blue-black Inverter Devotion deck yesterday in Pioneer, and Gadwick was super, super impressive in that deck, too. This card with a flow of things to back it up, takes over games very easily. Huh? Do we just jam? I think we just jam. Poly K is hungry. If they counter the front half here, we can escape him back next turn. Takes only 6 cards in our bin, plus 6 mana. If it does resolve, we get to kill Gadwick in a fight. Pays 3 to fight another target creature. Yep. Afternoon roller, dude. They binned Blast Zone. I guess that's not very useful on this board because it would kill Bonecrusher but also kill Gadwick. Era. Don't worry, the other knights are happy to show you around with the sword. You'll figure it out. It's easy peasy. That's unsettling because it implies that there's going to tap both the things this turn. When I enter combat before I cast this, I don't want them to be able to tap my threat with a counterspell. Wow, we've almost filled 2 groups. That's awesome right now. There's a lot of peeps. Dear Raid, if you're out there, send me some in-game stuff. Please and thank you. They planning to just, like, burn us out here? I played the other land out so we can play around Quench. Unfortunately, the activation on this does take 3, so we can't quite fight anything this turn with this. They don't have like another Brazen Borrower here. Polukranos should be able to chew his way through this board. Paradise Druid having Hexproof means it gets to chump block Gadwick guaranteed this turn, which seems good for us. We have 3 lethal threats as well. If we cut off all the heads but 1, does Polukranos become Monokranos? So definitely snapping off a chump block here. Don't want to die to a deal 2 or a deal 3. So they have to cast 3 blue spells or kill me here. I think Polukranos is a super reasonable card. We went up to a second copy of this in the Sultai control deck. Just like, good way to close the game, but also being interactive. Opponent has used 11 minutes this game. I've used 2.5 minutes. Okay, I was way happier when I didn't know that time differential. I feel like when the time differential between players exceeds like, I don't know, let's pick a number. Like, let's say like 8 minutes, the other player should be penalized in some way. Like, that extreme of a differential is real obnoxious. Alright, so Ceratops sounds great, obviously. I think Lovestruck Beast is actually quite bad here, because while the big body is nice, it's, they're easily going to be able to kill a 1-1 most games. You want Trophy here, too? Probably. Is it crazy to cut Rotting Regisaur? I feel like that's not crazy. Like, this card's really bad against Brazen Borrower. Thanks for that. The arena feature that gives my borderless cards the animation for my opponent's deck sleeve. So that's my opponent has the lightning bolt sleeves, and this is the mouse over animation for their lightning bolt sleeves. Whatever sleeve animation your opponent has only happens on your borderless cards. Like, this isn't borderless, so you mouse over it, it pops up. Everything else gets the lightning bolt animation. Alright, this hand needs a untapped red source, but if it does, we get to go dupe dupe. To be fair, as far as bugs are concerned, that mouse over animation hanging around or translating over, like, is pretty low, all things considered, right? In terms of what's a big deal and what's not. It's Grizzly. Thank you for the half a year of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Sure, we're in for that down the line, I think. Yeah, it is a strange feature. So I think my plan here is to stomp the Cutthroat on their turn then. Waiting to stomp on their turn because the Cutthroat only gets larger when they cast a spell on my turn. So even if they save it here, their Cutthroat stays a 2-1. Yeah, eats up mana on their turn as well, which is important. Easy to throw this back on top of our deck. Next turn we can go Agonizing Remorse plus Bonecrusher Giant, which is great. Hey, cooldown. We're bouncing my Pelt Collector, sure. Oh, that's rough. This is gonna kill us pretty quick in the air with the Embercleave. Maybe I'm just supposed to go Pelt Collector, Kroxa, Pelt Collector into Stormfist Crusader into Kroxa here. I'd have a 4/4 then. And getting Stormfist down makes me more likely to draw a removal spell. And I think I was supposed to do that. Because, like, I need to find a way to kill the Brazen Borrower here or I'm dead in 2. Yeah, I should have prioritized getting this into play so I could have an extra look at a removal spell to not die. Am I dead yet? Is that... This will be 4, 10... Are we 1 short? Assuming this is a land, we're 1 short, right? This will be 4, so this is 10, once it's a 5, and then 14, and then this does 3. Yeah, rough. Yeah. Think I'm just clicking submit. Yeah, I think I'm happy with how we sideboarded. I think my what I chose to play out that last turn was a bit off base. Yeah, assuming their card was a land and they took 3, we could deal 17 and they were at 18. So I had 14 in play with the sword, and then another 3 from the Kroxa. So we would have had 10 from the Pelt Collector with the sword on it, plus 4 from the Bonecrusher. Hey, MTG Sherbs, thanks for shipping your Bezo bucks this way this month and keeping me employed. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. Yes, that's with Kroxa growing Pelt Collector, Justin. I guess the lands are pretty awkward, though. I think I just do this and hope to draw an untapped land on 2. Swish. Swish, chat. We are the champions of the world. Hey, thanks for the 12 months, the real Reese. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Dear opponent, please don't flame sweep me. Please, please don't flame sweep me. Okay, that bodes well for not getting flame swept. It's a shame that this is tapped because I can't giant this here. Oh. They might have Storm's Wrath. I think that's pretty unlikely out of their flash deck. Oh, Marty. I had two different people tell me they were going to email me quotes. Neither of them have emailed me. I think it's time I have to contact more people. I really want to get this room done before summer. It's looking less and less likely. I'm less and less optimistic that that's going to happen. Hey, thanks for the 15 months, tutors. Of course you can. Welcome back. $50K. I think that one's a little bit on the high end. Gonna pass on that offer. I think I just passed priority here. Yeah, Christy, the first round of people that I called and had come out, there's an app called the Next Door app. Christy asked recommendations for people on it. Yep. All right, they're down to 11. Maybe I wasn't supposed to trade the Pelt Collector with their 2-1. That's a draw, chat. That's a draw. About to get Aether Gusted. Feels magic, man. Is that what people use that for? We actually got recommendations on there. But not that any of them have panned out. I don't know anything about it. It's just something Christy installed. Thanks for the 17 months, Torcat. Welcome back. It's so weird to me that, like, they've done all these things like uncounterable or like protection, but then also put these really edge cases in where you can actually, like, get through it. All right, down to 4. Do you Do you have a lava coil? Does not appear to be the case. Yeah, that was a slog of a first match, huh? War of the Spark Booster. That's so useful. The 20 gems booster, yep. How much is 20 gems? 10 cents. 100 gems is $1. Or 200 gems is $1. All right, we've got a lot of big monsters that are excellent here. But our mana is a little bit painful. Why is it 190 gems to join a historic event? Because making things not require clean, even amounts of payment is a way for people to encourage people to buy more because, oh, I already have a few, might as well just buy a couple more so I can play the event. It's a very, very common mobile / microtransaction gaming tactic. What? What about it, Wargame? Oh, I don't have the sideboard in it. Yeah, you're super right. Thank you. I'll fix that after. Alright, what am I doing here? I could shock and play Polyk. I think I'd rather just play another 5/5 though and not shock this turn. I think this deck is viable. I think that's a loaded question. I think oftentimes I feel like when someone asking me is this deck viable, they're asking me should they spend their wild cards on it? And my answer is if you have to ask that question, the answer is probably no. I think if you're ever worried about playing, if you're worried about only playing viable decks, I'd recommend sticking to decks that do well at large tournaments. I think the amount of matches you need to play with a deck to know if it is good, bad, or otherwise is much, much larger than I ever play here on this stream. Even when we play a deck for a long time, for a long set, it's only like 2 hours, which is like 6 or 7 matches at most. Incredibly small sample sizes. I think this deck's playing a lot of constructed playable cards in it. Bye, Teamer Rec, thank me later. Man, at some point, maybe we'll play against... I mean, we're stabilizing until they Embercleave us this turn. We're about to get Embercleaved and just like, can't win anymore, don't have a chance. At some point, I'm sure I'm going to play against Teamer Rec, and it won't just be an awful dumpster fire. But that is yet to happen. I know it's put up some results, but like every time we play against Teamer Reclamation, it's an embarrassing pile of cards that doesn't do anything and then dies. Oh, every format of Magic is just combo and ramp at this point. All combo, all ramp all the time. I would be very surprised if the inverter combo remains legal in Pioneer. I think the inverter combo is incredibly unhealthy for the format. I think the axes of which you have to interact with inverter combo on are very narrow. I don't know, like even when Kroxa played against us, the deck just didn't do anything and he died. And I get that he's played a ton of it on the ladder, and maybe I should go sit and watch his videos, but I also don't really care. Like, I'm not testing for any competitive events. Also in my experience, whenever someone tells me a deck's hard to play, usually that's just secret code word for this deck is bad, but if you're a good player, you can win games with it anyways in spite of it being bad. I mean, I'm sure Kroki's like, he plays a ton of Magic. I'm sure he's just like playing a variety of things. I don't think him changing off a deck doesn't mean it's necessarily not good. Yeah, old Amulet Titan. It's hard to play, and by that I mean if you can spec your opening 7, you'll be okay. Slow start here from the opponent with us on the play. You want to know what's really funny for people who remember that whole thing happening with him? He was a local from Chicago, and like the weekend he got DQ'd for cheating, I had like literally had arranged to like borrow his Amulet Titan deck to play in a tournament, and I like played it because I didn't have any other cards lined up. It was like super awkward. Man, this card is so brutal. So it takes my creature, makes me attack, and then kills all my stuff. Steven Speck was a Chicago player that got banned for cheating with Amulet Titan a long time ago. It was like 2015, 2016. It's been a while at this point. You know what, Rhino? Can you screenshot me your second clan with all the players in it? Because I want to tweet a picture of them and be like, yo, can you give me some free stuff at least? Should we be playing around a Cronin War? Okay, I'm going to give you a chance to, and I'm not just going to time you out here. Can you explain what that means, Jensen? What does playing around the Cronin War look like? How do I actually do that? What game action did I take in this game that you think wasn't playing around a Cronin War? Is playing it. Okay, now I'm gonna give you a timeout because you recommended a card and you didn't tell me why we should be playing it, so you broke a different rule. Even worse. Yeah, even just saying should we be playing it's even worse here. You ain't new, you got a sword next to your name. I'm playing around with Blue Red Tempo deck that sideboards Rejection and has Nimble Obstructionist. Rejection's definitely narrow. Like, if you're planning to play that as a hate card, you're literally boarding it in a matchup where it only hits one thing, right? My current favorite format is definitely Standard. I think there's some combo-y style. I think, like, Embercleave's a little obnoxious, but other than that, I like this format a lot. Based on viewer submissions and YouTube view counts too, I think it's probably pretty safe to say that this current standard format's the most popular Magic format for my viewers too at the current moment in time. It's really only okay against Scissors. If you look at the Scissors deck and you look at the cards you actually want to counter, the list is small. That, like, the colorless cards you want to counter. Like, the key cards out of the Scissors deck are not colorless. Sure, yeah, and I'm saying, J-Dub, that boarding that card against Inverter is incredibly narrow. Yeah, Jimmy, actually the fourth deck in the stream title here today, the fourth deck in the stream title today is the Saffron Olive Kiora deck. The Lotus Field deck that he had played. Yeah, it's been a hot second since I've touched Mythgard, old man. Raid has been what I've been playing on my mobile in my off-stream time. Yeah, I think so, Top 10 Hammer. Standard is effectively a dead paper format. I'd be very surprised if Standard has much of a future as a paper format. I think even with this current Standard format being reasonable, people have just been burned too many times in recent memory to trust it. Just gonna go ahead and trade these here. Yikes. No Mana Strike? Nah, I started playing Raid before Mana Strike released and then just like, I don't know. I didn't want to try another thing because I'm enjoying Raid. Standard doesn't even fight anymore at the CFP Game Center. Yeah, yep. And you see independent series like the NRG series that sponsors the stream, they're all Pioneer Modern Legacy. Like, there is not a strong financial incentive for supporting Standard. All right, we're dead. Feels dead, man. I guess I get to... Maybe we're not just dead. Okay, so I get to go play this tapped. How many cards are in my bin? 3? It's not a lot. So I get to go block Rimrock, Trophy the Cleave, take 2, down to 4. And then Druid will be in the bin, Trophy will be in the bin, Passage will be in the bin. I'll escape Kroxa back. How do you think Paper Standard dying impacts the rest of Paper Magic? I don't know. I don't know how many... Like, the one thing you really need to... No, they're going to activate Castle Sunshine. The one thing you really need to understand is that competitive Magic and competitive Standard specifically as a subset of that is a very small portion of what happens. No, Paper Magic's not going anywhere, and that's an illogical conclusion that people that don't understand the big picture make as a jump. That's really bad all the time. So like, if Paper Standard goes away, Paper Magic's not in any danger. Casual EDH, competitive non-rotating formats, these things are very large chunks of what Magic still is. There's still limited powering packs being opened. Like, the competitive Standard players are such a very small fraction of what makes up Magic, Paper Magic as a whole. Just very, very small amount. MWLX, thank you for the 19 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So Lovestruck Beast actually isn't a bad draw here. Pelt Collector would have been a little better, but this gives me a 1/1 that I can chump block with this turn to keep my health total high. So if they attack with both of... Are you flipping kidding me? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, hey, hey. We were this close. Yeah, that's true too, Andrew. People who are really competitive players, they generally don't care about what the format is. They just want tournaments to go play in, and they'll adapt to whatever formats those tournaments are. So it's in tournament organizers' best interest to have formats for their tournaments be the formats that appeals to the widest more casual audience, because that brings in the raw number of players, because the really competitive players are going to figure out a way and show up regardless. Yeah, Claim the Firstborn is very, very good, for sure. There are def stores that get by on the sales of standard singles and packs, and they're for sure taking a hit. Blisteringly hot take. The LGS model is a dying model. Is that even... That's probably not even a hot take. That's just factually correct, right? Room temperature take? Yeah. Yeah, whenever I hear people complaining about things like they're not doing things to help the LGS, I'm just like, as much as it's nice to think about a small business, like, the reality of the situation is that model is not in a good spot. Correct. Yes. Yeah. Things like what Mox Boarding House does, like where they have like a cafe or a bar built in, other ways to monetize outside of just being a game store. LGS stands for local game store, for people that aren't familiar with that vernacular, that jargon. Yeah, that's true. Physical stores in general are kind of a dying model. You need to provide a service in today's industry that I can't get shipped to my doorstep with 2-day shipping. That's what you need to exist and survive. They are 1 card short of escaping their Kroxa. Macy's is closing 150 stores and moving to strip malls instead of big malls. Yeah, the mall by my home is like basically half empty. I think 2 or 3 of the anchor stores are out of business at it. Just hit 69,420 shillings, the best shilling amount. Yeah, that's a Laziv and a 6/6. I'm still 3 cards off of escaping my Kroxa. The brewing company I work at actually took over a gym inside a mall spot. Us having 150 to 200 employees saved the mall. It has warped what stores opened and closed there. That's great. All right, take 2. I mean, Jim does a lot of donation decks like we do here too. So I wouldn't take Davis playing something as a sign of something's good, just like I wouldn't take me playing something as a sign of it being good. I feel like this deck's a pretty bad Lovestruck Beast deck. We just don't have other 1/1s to pair with it. Yeah, we're going through a pretty drastic change in... Going through a pretty drastic change in the, not only the US, but like the entire world. And more and more things are being globalized. Or at least across the entirety of a country. Alright, in... I think I bought him that. I think. Lovestruck's your anti-aggro card. Honestly, probably just Thrashing Brontodon. I don't think Lovestruck Beast is actually that good of an anti-aggro card in this format because the aggro decks are all Embercleave decks, and Lovestruck Beast is pretty embarrassing in the face of Embercleave. I've never seen a phone attached to a wall. Yep. We went to the T-Mobile store a couple of weeks ago to get Christy a new phone, and Declan was really confused as to what the flip phones were that they had on the wall still. Stop making me feel old via your kids. I got bad news for you. You are old. Oh yeah, my kids are really confused every time we go to my mother-in-law's house and they can't pick the show on the TV. They're just like, what do you mean I have to watch what's on? What's a commercial? These suck. What phone did we get? We got her the OnePlus 7, I think. Whatever one of the latest OnePlus models is. Cable TV is a pox on humanity, ain't that the truth? Don't end my legion, bro. Yeah, right? Heck, for $5 a month, you don't even really watch commercials here. Just the occasional oops, arena crashed. Yeah, we've talked about the Iowa stuff a little bit. I don't know. My only general comment to just to remind people on with the Iowa stuff is that don't contribute to bad conspiracy theories that are going around. Stick to the things that we actually do. No, don't attribute malice to that which is adequately explained by incompetence. Yeah, my desktop background is, the Theros gods. Well, that's really unfortunate. Have we died? I think we've died. We only have this deck. This deck is really bad at getting this card into play, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna concede. Let's make a couple of changes here. Hey, Batman Blowfish, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. Alright, so Lovestruck Beast has felt a little awkward, and Kroxa has been hard to put into play. I also think Questing Beast's a little bit mediocre right now. What if we played some Calls the Dead in here? I kinda like this. This is a card I've been impressed with. Mire Triton could maybe be okay. I don't know that Mire Triton's particularly aggressive. I don't know. So, like, the problem with this deck, when I start to look at it from this position, is I kind of feel like as we make these changes, we just kind of end up being a bad version of the red-black Titan deck we've played a little bit of. Like, at this point, we're essentially trying to splash for a 1-drop, and like, splashing for a 1-drop that you need to play on the first turn of the game really isn't a particularly strong thing to be doing, right? Like, the consistency at which you can cast your 1-mana splash on 1 is like really low. So I kind of feel like overall, while like what we're doing feels okay, I feel like we're trying to like splash a third color to be more aggressive, and like splashing a color to be more aggressive just doesn't, it ends up being really inconsistent. In the games where you like open on 3 shocklands of all your colors, you're okay, but other than that, it just ends up feeling really clunky. So yeah, I feel like, actually, speaking of Red-Black Titan, I'm gonna hit a quick ad roll while I get everything set up for the next one, but when we get back, we're actually going to try a straight red-black Titan build. So that works out well. Be interested to compare how this one does to the Jund build that we just played. So we'll be back in a few. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere. We got a bunch more Standard Hero and Arena coming up today. Yeah, Binding of the Titans just isn't a particularly aggressive card. And at that point, if you're like not being aggressive, I'd rather just be more mid-rangey. Sneaky segues. I was about to say, I know we have Red Black Titan coming up, and I was like, oh, it's next. That's perfect.